10 reasons why Taurus is misunderstood. Have you ever felt out of place, as if others can't understand your way of being? If you are Taurus, it is likely that more than once you have been labeled as stubborn, materialistic, or even distant. But today, we are going to disassemble all those myths and reveal the truth behind your personality. It is not you the problem, but the wrong perception that others have about your essence. Prepare for a deep trip to the unique characteristics of Taurus, those that make you special, strong, and at the same time, vulnerable. Why is your need for stability so misunderstood? Why can your unwavering loyalty intimidate others? And most importantly, why do you many times do not fit in a world that seems to turn at a speed that is not yours? Here you will find answers that will change the way you perceive yourself. Because the truth is that being Taurus is not a defect, but a gift that few come to understand. The eternal search for stability that few understand. For Taurus, stability is the basis of a full life. It is not about fear of change, but about the need to build a safe environment before taking any step. In a world that exalts the ephemeral, bullfighting firmness may seem an obsession with control, but in reality, everything comes from a deep love for peace and tranquility. And talking about this, has it happened to you that you feel that others do not understand your way of being? We would love to know your experience, so leave us a comment and tell us if you have ever misunderstood you for your bullfighting essence. And if you like this content, subscribe to not miss more videos about Taurus and the Zodiac. And this stability is not only material, but also emotional. Taurus needs solid relationships and predictable environments to feel in harmony. Therefore, he does not give his trust easily, which sometimes makes others see him as someone reserved or difficult to treat. However, is it a mistake to want to protect your well-being? In such an unstable society, seeking security should be seen as a virtue, not as a defect. Even so, Taurus often becomes the target of criticism. Some call it stubborn, others see it as someone boring. But the reality is that their patience and determination require an emotional strength that few possess. Beyond appearances, the hidden spontaneity of Taurus. What many do not know is that Taurus also has an adventurous side. You just need to feel safe to show it. When it is in an environment of trust, it can be surprisingly fun, spontaneous, and passionate, but it will never sacrifice its essence to fit into a world that goes too fast. Despite criticism, Taurus is faithful to himself, and that authenticity is its greatest strength. So if you ever felt that nobody understood your need for certainties, now you know that you are simply honoring your true bullfighting nature. Do not let the opinions of others turn off your essence. Your stability search is one of your greatest strengths, although the world does not always know how to recognize it. The hidden sensitivity behind the fortress. From outside, Taurus seems unwavering, a firm wall that stands regardless of the storms that surround it. But behind that image of strength, there's a deeply sensitive soul, capable of perceiving every little nuance of situations and people. Its emotional nature is not evident to the naked eye, but it is there, beating intensely. This sensitivity is protected by a shell built over time, not because they do not want to open, but because they know what it means to be injured. That armor can make them look distant or even cold, but in reality it is their way of safeguarding the most precious, its emotions. Only those who manage to gain their trust can see the warmest and most tender side of Taurus, the one that few imagine but is immensely valuable. Feeling so deeply is not easy, and that is why Taurus carefully chooses who trusts. They prefer to avoid situations that make them feel too exposed or vulnerable, but that does not mean that they do not worry about others. In fact, its empathy is one of its greatest qualities, although they do not always express it in an obvious way. The most powerful thing about this sensitivity is how they transform it into protection and care. When someone enters his circle of trust, Taurus becomes an unwavering pillar. willing to give everything for those he loves. His ability to love is as intense as his strength, but not everyone is able to see him. If you have ever felt that the world does not recognize your emotional side, you are not alone. Your combination of sensitivity and determination is unique and powerful. You do not need to change or give explanations, because those who really understand you will know how to value what you have to offer. A serene rhythm in a hurried world. Taurus does not get carried away by hurry, and that usually baffles those around him. While the world seems to run without stopping, they prefer to move at their own pace, analyzing each step with patience and precision. This does not mean that they are slow, as many think, but that they are meticulous. For Taurus, quality is more important than speed. They do not make impulsive decisions or rush by external pressure, but build their path safely, making sure that each choice takes them to a firm and stable destination. This leisurely rhythm gives them an advantage that few recognize: the ability to observe what others ignore. While most get carried away by the urgency of the moment, Taurus analyzes, plans, and finds effective solutions. However, his calm approach is often misunderstood. Some see them as selfless or lacking of ambition, when in reality their strategy is much more solid than it seems. In a world that applauds immediate action, going against the countercurrent can be a challenge. The pressure to fit in an accelerated rhythm is constant, but Taurus knows that adapting to a speed that is not his would be betraying himself. The funny thing is that even if they seem to move calmly, when Taurus acts, he does it with precision and determination. While others make hasty decisions and then correct errors, Taurus advances with safe steps, making sure that each movement is correct from the beginning. Respect your rhythm. The key to understanding Taurus. To truly understand Taurus, it is essential to accept his way of doing things. Trying to hurry will only generate resistance because they know that their method is the one that works best for them. Learning to live according to your own rhythm is not stubborn, it is self-love. They do not compromise their essence just to fit into a world that constantly presses them to change. So, if you have ever told you that you are slow, remember that this is not a defect. You are someone who prefers to enjoy the way instead of running meaningless towards a goal imposed by others. And at the end of the day, that makes you unique. Because while others are lost in haste, you know how to live and appreciate every moment. Taurus loyalty, unconditional support or possession. For Taurus, loyalty is not optional. It is an essential pillar in your life. When they trust someone, they do it absolutely, delivering their support without conditions. This makes them incredibly reliable people, always willing to be there in good times and difficult. However, this devotion is often misunderstood as possessiveness or need for control, when in reality, I could not be further from the truth. Taurus does not seek to dominate anyone, just protect those who love. His way of demonstrating affection may seem intense for those who are not accustomed to deep connections, but behind what some see as possessiveness, there is actually a pure and genuine love. The problem is that the modern world, where everything is fleeting and superficial, is not always prepared for such constant and loyal love. Many people confuse the dedication of Taurus with an invasion, when in reality, all they want is to be a stable presence in the lives of those who value. And this loyalty is not limited only to romantic love. It also extends to friends and family. For Taurus, trust is sacred, and once someone enters their circle, they can count on them forever. The challenge is that, on many occasions, this devotion is not corresponded. Taurus gives a lot and expects the same in return, but it does not always receive it. This can lead them to feel injured or even used by those who do not understand the true value of their commitment. If you have ever told you that you are too intense about the way you give yourself to others, do not worry. Your loyalty is a gift that few people have. Who appreciate it will recognize your true value, and those who do not simply are not prepared to understand love and friendship in their most authentic form, beyond the material. Taurus's true pleasure. One of the greatest misunderstandings about Taurus is its relationship with the material. They are often accused of being superficial or looking for luxury, but reality is very different. More than accumulating wealth, Taurus seeks emotional comfort. What they own are not simple goods, but tools to create a space of peace and security where they can feel in harmony. Therefore, it is not about wanting more, but wanting enough to live comfortable and in balance. A cozy home, a delicious meal, a quiet corner where they can rest. Those are the real luxuries for Taurus. They are simple details but full of meaning, because for them, enjoying life is not in ostentation, but in the ability to make the everyday something pleasant. And although they have a connection with the material, that does not mean that they do not value the immaterial. In fact, few people know how to enjoy both little moments and them. Beyond the material, the value of memories and experiences. For Taurus, a special memory or a significant experience have much more value than any expensive object. They do not seek to impress others with striking possessions, but to ensure that everything that surrounds them contributes to their happiness and well-being. If you have felt identified so far, it means that this video is made for you. And if you are a Taurus, or you know someone of this sign, leave us a comment telling us which of these characteristics you think you define best. And make sure you subscribe to continue discovering more about your sign and its incredible energy. And the problem arises when people misunderstand this love for comfort and beauty, such as greed or materialism. Actually, Taurus does not accumulate by simple desire to have, but because he finds security in creating an environment that gives serenity and harmony. Only those who really know them know that Taurus is one of the most generous signs of Zodiac, always willing to share what he has with the people he loves. Enjoy giving, especially when it comes to making others feel good. So if you have ever judged you for loving comfort, don't let that doubt who you are. Those who really understand your essence will know that it is not about superficiality, but about the need to build a shelter where you and your loved ones can feel in peace. The fear of change, a common misunderstanding. Taurus has a deep connection with the known, with that stable terrain where he feels safe. For them, the changes represent a risk, a possible threat to the balance that they value so much. For this reason, they often label them as rigid or third, but the reality is much more complex. Change is not impossible for Taurus, but you need preparation. They cannot be launched in a vacuum without first evaluating each possibility, each scenario. In a world that glorifies improvisation and constant innovation, Taurus is sometimes seen as etching. However, what for others seems meaningless resistance, for them is simply caution. But there is something that few recognize. When Taurus understands that a change is necessary, it adapts with determination and effort. Of course, he does it at his own pace, making sure to maintain a minimum of control over the situation. His true strength lies in his ability to keep calm in the midst of uncertainty. They do not get carried away by impulses or external pressures, but also advance when they are really ready. The conflict arises when people try to force them to move faster than they can. Pressing Taurus is never a good idea, because his power comes from deciding for themselves when and how to transform his life. So if you have ever accused you of being stubborn with the changes, remember this: you are not inflexible. You simply value stability because you know that it is where you prosper. Adapting in your way is your personal seal, and those who respect your process will be the ones who really understand your strength. The emotional silence that baffles others. Taurus has a very particular way to handle its emotions. His silence does not mean lack of feelings, but prefer to process everything internally before expressing themselves. The emotional silence that baffles others. Taurus's habit of keeping his emotions for himself can be misunderstood as coldness or disinterest. However, the truth is that they feel deeply, even if they hide it behind their apparent calm. When something affects them emotionally, it is common for them to retire to loneliness to reflect. This time alone allows them to organize their thoughts and find a practical solution before reacting. The problem is that those who do not know them may assume that Taurus is being indifferent or distant when they are actually processing their feelings at their own pace. This way of handling emotions has a positive side. It allows them to avoid impulsive responses and helps them maintain control in difficult situations. However, at the same time, it can generate frustration in people waiting for a reaction or immediate explanation. Taurus does not open with anyone. Only when they feel really safe, allow others to see their most vulnerable side. For them, sharing their emotions is an act of trust, not obligation. If you have ever told you that you seem distant, remember that it is not a defect, it is a strategy to protect your mental peace. Your silence is a form of emotional self-regulation that demonstrates your inner strength. Those who really matter will understand and know how to wait until you are ready to share what you feel. Ndarikuat, Udar realistic pragmatism in the face of dreams and fantasies. Taurus has well-planted feet on earth. While others are lost in dreams and illusions, they prefer to focus on what they can see, touch, and build. This pragmatism, although it is one of its greatest virtues, is often misunderstood as lack of imagination or ambition. However, there is nothing further from reality. Taurus does have dreams, but it is not formed with ideas in the air. For them, each goal must have a solid plan behind. They do not throw themselves to the unknown without first assessing whether it is worth it. This mentality makes them incredibly determined people. They prefer to go step by step, building on firm bases, instead of getting lost in fantasies that have no livelihood. Sometimes their realism makes them seem too serious, or as if they did not enjoy spontaneity. But the truth is that they enjoy the process of making their dreams come true in a concrete and effective way. In addition, although they may seem rational in excess, they have a creative side that surprises. But even his creativity is linked to his desire to improve his life in a practical way. If Taurus dreams, it is because he wants to turn those dreams into something tangible, in something they can enjoy both the people who love. So if you have ever accused you of being too realistic, recalls that your focus on life is a strength. Do not avoid dreaming. You simply do it with your feet on the ground, and that allows you to achieve achievements that others just imagine. Loneliness chosen rather than explained decisions. One of Taurus's most misunderstood characteristics is his tendency to loneliness. It is not that they do not enjoy the company, but that they choose their retirement moments very carefully. Their life is full of decisions thought calmly, and they do not feel the need to justify each of them. When Taurus is isolated, he does it to reflect, to reunite with himself without the pressure of giving explanations. However, those who do not understand this need for loneliness can see them as cold or distant when they are actually recharging energies. This isolation is not a rejection of others, but a way of protecting their well-being. Taurus avoids unnecessary conflicts and judgments that contribute nothing to their life. At the end of the day, they prefer to stay faithful to themselves rather than try to please everyone. The problem arises when people around them insist on demanding explanations. This can generate tension because Taurus does not feel that it should be justified if their decisions do not negatively affect anyone. His silence, often interpreted as a defensive attitude, is actually his way of staying at peace. So, if you have ever felt that they do not understand you for preferring to keep your reasons for yourself, remember this: you don't have to justify who you are. Your loneliness is not a weakness, but a tool to maintain your balance and live in harmony with your values. Be a firm heart that only wants to be understood. Although Taurus seems strong and sometimes reserved, in the background what really seeks is simple: being seen and accepted as it is. Behind his firmness, there is a heart full of love and a genuine desire for connection. However, in a world that quickly judges, its true essence often goes unnoticed. Taurus does not seek superficial recognition, but authentic relationships. He wants to feel that people around him value their effort, their patience and loyalty. But this need to be understood often clashes with the lack of depth of others. And even if they do not show it, every emotional wound they receive leaves scars that keep silent. The beautiful thing about the bullfights is that they are not willing to change to fit. They prefer to be faithful to themselves, although that means feeling alone. But when they find those who really understand them, their love and loyalty have no limits, creating genuine and lasting relationships. If you have ever felt invisible, remember that you are not alone. Your essence is valuable, and although not everyone sees it, those who take the time to meet you will discover the treasure you carry inside. You do not need to change to be loved, because as you are already incredible. Udis conclusion. Taurus is a deeply misunderstood sign, but full of virtues that make it unique. His search for stability, his hidden sensitivity, his quiet rhythm, and his unwavering loyalty are qualities that differentiate him in a world that often does not know how to appreciate them. And although there are days when they can feel alone or out of place, they should never forget that their essence is their greatest strength. They are not here to fit the expectations of others, but to build their own path at their own pace. The people who really value them will know how to see beyond the surface and discover the depth and authenticity that makes them special. So, despite misinterpretations, it is still the best version of yourself because your authenticity is your true power. Now tell us in the comments, have you ever felt misunderstood by your bullfighting personality? Which of these points do you identify more? Do not forget to subscribe for more content about Taurus and the Zodiac. Click on the video or the playlist on the screen to continue exploring what makes Taurus such a special sign. Now that we have explored together the essence of Taurus, tell us in the comments, with what part of the video did you feel most identified? We love to read your experiences and connect with you. And if you have not done it yet, subscribe and activate the bell for YouTube to notify you every time we upload a new video about astrology and spirituality.